You can't half step your way into greatness. You really got to be all in on yourself. Because the reality is that if you don't take yourself seriously, who else will? Welcome to Behind the Work, the show where we dive deep into the business, life, and careers of people doing some amazing things in the world. I'm your host, Jessica Santana, and I'm bringing you the stories behind the sexy and unsexy parts of success. So whether you're working at a company, building your business, or you're just trying to level up, this is for you. At Behind the Work, we believe that we all have to go up together, so make sure you're tapped in. Hey everyone, welcome back to Behind the Work. I'm your host, Jessica Santana. And to be honest with y'all, I'm feeling really great today because I cannot believe that it is the last episode of season 1 of the show. Shout out to me. Shout out to me. To be honest with you, to have actually executed on 17 episodes since the beginning of March, having only been working on this project since January of this year, feels surreal to me. My expectations for the show were to just create a space that was going to be beautiful for conversations to be had and to build the corner of the internet that I would be super proud of contributing to. I'm really content with the ways in which this season has come to fruition. And then thinking back to when I was in Cartagena, Colombia, and the ocean waters were speaking to me and told me to start and create Behind the Work, I look back at that time and I find that I am tremendously proud of myself for taking the leap and then starting to build what I call a new dream for me. And so I obviously still have so much to learn about what it looks like to build a show from scratch. I've learned so much, so many lessons on a personal level about creating content, marketing content, and just production in general. And this is not, generally my wheelhouse that I operate in, but to be able to stretch my mind in this way has been truly amazing. And it feels really good to actually be back in a learner's seat. For those of you who have followed me, you all know that I've built an incredible career as an entrepreneur, leading various entities since 2014. So to be over a decade into my career and into my work, but still be working on a project that feels like it puts me back into a novice phase actually really excites me. And I'm really looking forward to doing more, especially for season 2. So today it's really just gonna be me and you recapping season 1 of Behind the Work that has meant and what it's meant to me on a personal level and the lessons that I want each of you to leave with as you all go into your summers, enjoy your summer breaks and your vacations, and start planning for your fall and winter seasons. So before I even start talking about all of the lessons that I hope season 1 left y'all with, I really wanted to take a moment to contextualize why the show was important for me to create in the first place. You know, when I started thinking about really going all in on starting Behind the Work, I found that I was in a really dark place. I was outside of the country in Colombia observing a 2 month sabbatical after celebrating 10 years of work as an entrepreneur. And to be honest with you, I felt really defeated and I felt really tired and I felt really mad. For those of you who watched episode 1 and episode 3 of season 1, you would know that I talk a little bit about how last year was a really tough year for me. I was not giving myself the right perspectives around all of the things that made my entrepreneurial journey a beautiful journey over the last 10 years. And I was really focusing a lot on all the things that I had lost along the way and the price that I've paid in order to be able to observe a life where I do have the ability to lead and to be a CEO and to have built an institution that I'm really proud of, that I took a bet on myself to build back in 2014. But the reality is that while entrepreneurship is very romanticized and seen as such a lifestyle to be lived, there were also tremendous amounts of sacrifices that came along with what I built. And a lot of my personal goals and aspirations for the things that would nurture other parts of my life were always put on hold because I was chasing my dreams. And last year, I felt everything came crashing down on me. And it really felt that while I had everything to be proud of, I also wasn't proud and I wasn't happy. And I was living in the duality of both being super happy about what I have done professionally, but also knowing that what I have done professionally has come with a price. And it was something that I was dealing a lot with up until March of this year before launching the show. And the reality is that my story is not an uncommon one. There are tons of entrepreneurs and really successful executives that have achieved some of the highest pinnacles of their professional potential. And there are not a lot of spaces where we can go to be vulnerable and talk about the sexy and unsexy parts of success. And when I realized that most of my friends who have seen a tremendous amount of success have also started to reclaim their joy and reclaim, their happiness and reclaim their life outside of professional achievement, I thought that it would be really important for me to catalyze and create a space and a forum that would bring folks that I've met to the table and give everyone that follows them the real stories about the things that they've seen and the things that they've done and the things that have been really amazing, but also have been really painful for them on their journeys. And so, looking back at the first half of this year, working on this show, and then having each show be accompanied with a piece of writing that I distribute to my newsletter subscribers has been incredibly healing for me. And I really want to make sure that I note that it hasn't only just been able to create a space for me to self reflect and talk about things that are consistently on my mind about the world and its people. It has also really opened up a part of me that really just wants to be vulnerable and be open and be soft and imperfect. And it has been one of the most profound bets that I've made on myself to date. And so, to freely be able to express my joy and my pain and my sorrows, but also my milestones and my achievements with each and every one of you has been an incredible journey for me. Being able to center the stories of people that have influenced me this season has also been incredible for me. And I hope that you all got as much value from listening to the show and in its entirety or pieces of the show as much as I enjoyed creating it. I can truly say that the conversations I've had on this platform, the writing I've done through the brand, and even the limits that the project has pushed for me has been exactly what I needed to get back to a place where I am truly happy, where I'm truly resolved, and where I'm truly grateful to God for entrusting me with the life that He is allowing me to lead. I don't take it lightly, and I know I get to touch so many lives through my work as the CEO of America on Tech. I get to touch the lives of so many people through the work I do with my consulting clients and my coaching clients, and I also hopefully get to touch lives now through the work that I've been doing with the show for the folks that have been tapped in and tuned in since its launch back in March. The reality is that with everything that I put into the universe and the ways in which things are received, I'm not unaware that it comes with privileges. And having platforms that are like this, with the relationships that I have access to and the resources that I have access to, creates an environment where gratitude for me feels in abundance right now. So this season was all about introducing you all to who I am and the folks in my life that have influenced me, touched me, or shaped me in some way. I think that this season was really about giving you all perspective on what it takes to be successful and what it also looks like to have failures along the pathway to success. And then also what it looks like to bounce back regardless of how difficult things are. So I think that each and every episode in the season really had a message that I wanted each and every one of you all to leave with. And I'm going to recap, what I believe some of those lessons are. And so, without further ado, let's talk about the 10 lessons and then the one bonus lesson from season one. Lesson one, don't wait for the right time. You really just got to start. So many of my guests talked about launching projects, businesses, or careers without having every detail figured out. And honestly, that's how most of us begin. I think a lot of us delay starting because we want to feel ready, but readiness is a myth. You become ready through action. The clarity comes after the leap and not before. And I want you to remember this: progress is always better than perfection. You'll learn more by doing than you'll ever learn by sitting on an idea, waiting for everything to align. So if you've been sitting on something, this is your nudge. Just start. I waited a long time to start behind the work because of my own fears, because I was waiting for the right time, because I couldn't see how I was going to make the time to manage the show and then also manage, my businesses. And then eventually I was like, you know what? Jessica, if this is important to you, you will find a way, and whatever is not for you, you will either miss it. Well, whatever's not for you, you will miss it. Whatever is for you, you won't miss it. And I just want you all to know that you don't have to ask for permission, from the world to get started on your dreams. Lesson two, you got to take big bets on yourself. If there's one pattern I saw over and over again in the guests that I've highlighted this season, it was that people took wild, courageous bets on themselves. And that means investing in an idea that no one understands yet. It means quitting the job. It means launching the thing, saying yes to things that are scary, saying yes to exciting opportunities, because playing it safe might feel more secure, but in the long term, you lose time, you lose momentum, and you even lose self-trust. And every guest I had this season said that they were the best investments that they can make in themselves. So take the risk because you really are worth it. And remember that you never ever lose. You either win or you learn. Lesson number three, doing business with friends is a flex. We've all heard people say and never do business with friends, but this season we challenge that because doing business with people you love, trust, and believe in, that's a blessing. It's a flex and it's part of the legacy that we build. That doesn't mean it's easy, and you still need to obviously structure your boundaries and contracts and real communication. But when it's rooted in respect and shared vision, it creates magic. So don't let fear or outdated rules block you from collaborating with your circle. Just move smart and honor the relationship as much as you honor the work. Lesson four, putting God at the center of your business is the key to entrepreneurial success. If I'll say it plainly, your business can't go further than your faith. When God is the CEO, the decisions hit different. The strategy feels more aligned. The vision is bigger than you. So many guests this season said, I didn't know this was going to work, but I felt called to it. And that is what I call alignment. That is what alignment sounds like. For me, I've learned that every time I move without God, I end up doing double the work and getting half the peace. Put your vision in the divine hands. It won't make things easier, but it will make them clearer. Lesson five, rest is powerful for the mind, body, and spirit. This world will have you believing that rest is weakness, that hustle is the only path to success. But if your mind is foggy and your spirit is heavy and your body is exhausted, What are you really building? Rest isn't a break from the work. Rest is the work. It's in rest that we recover. It's in stillness that clarity comes. And if you don't make rest a priority, your body will eventually force you to. This season reminded me that rest isn't lazy, it's about prioritizing leadership. Lesson 6: building something from scratch takes years. We're so conditioned to expect quick wins, but every guest who built something meaningful, they took years. Years of trial and error, years of no's before the yes, years of questioning, pivoting, learning. And I think we need to normalize that because sometimes we internalize the slow pace and think what we're falling behind when we're actually just planting roots. So don't compare your year 1 to someone's year 10. You got to trust your timeline and build something that can stand the test of time and not just align with current trends. Lesson 7: playing about yourself is not an option. This one is personal. Too many of us shrink because we're afraid of being too much. We dim our light. We play small to make others comfortable. But the work you're being called to do, it requires the full volume of you. You can't half step your way into greatness. You really got to be all in on yourself. Because the reality is that if you don't take yourself seriously, who else will? There's power in reinvention. Sometimes the version of you that got here can't take you there. Reinvention isn't about failure, it's about alignment. Growth is going to require you to evolve, and that might look like changing your mind, ending a chapter, starting fresh. And to be honest with you, some of the most powerful episodes this season were about people choosing to become new versions of themselves boldly and loudly. Don't let fear of what people will say keep you stuck in an outdated version of you. You have to reinvent, you have to reclaim, and you do have to repeat as needed. Pivoting is not a failure. We've been taught that changing directions means you messed up, and that's a lie. Because pivoting is wisdom. It means you've learned something and you're acting on that knowledge. And so, if something no longer aligns, you have to move. You have to let it go. You have to try something new. The most successful people I know pivot often and they pivot boldly. The bonus lesson of this season is you got to love yourself at your lowest. It's easy to be proud of yourself when things are going well. But what about when you're unsure and you're broken and you're rejected and you're lost? That's when it all really matters. This season showed me how important it is to honor yourself and in the in between. To look at yourself even when it's messy and to say I still got me. That's a flex that nobody can take from you. And that's it, y'all. As you know, I like frolicking, and resting is really important to me. One of the best pieces of advice that my friend Anthony Frazier gave me a long time ago was that when I center investments in myself, they're going to be guaranteed returns. This season, I spoke to you all about the importance of rest and returning to yourself. I believe that modeling the behaviors that I encourage each of you to follow is more important than putting out content for the sake of keeping engagement high. And that is why this is going to be my last newsletter until September 9th and the last episode of season 1. The next 2 months, I'm going to be enjoying my family. I'm going to be enjoying my friends. I'm going to be reading. I'm going to be writing. I'm going to be traveling across countries. I'm going to be learning culinary techniques at Le Cordon Bleu in Paris, recertifying in mixology, meeting social entrepreneurs in Europe, doing my hot girl walks, basking in the sun, and drinking my matcha. I had a very, very busy first half of the year between keeping up with the demands of my business, my life, my career, my side clients, and this show. So this period of rest is really my gift for all of the hard work that has been put in the last few months. Behind the work socials are going to remain active, but the content is going to be mostly automated between now and September 9th. And the best way to reach me is going to be via email or via phone if you have my digits. So make sure you hit me. I'm wishing each and every one of you a wonderful summer, and I will see you all on September 9th. And remember, keep being you, and remember that you are the person that you've been waiting for. Thanks for tuning in. Mwah. Thanks for listening to Behind the Work. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a rating and a review. Follow us on YouTube and on social media. I want to hear how this show is leaving an impact on you.